Okay, folks, so welcome. We're on our last part of our journey for right effort for easeful running. So I sent you some tips at the weekend via James Dunn in terms of the running. So we're working on the body in a more rounded way, if you like, to see what we can do outside the running to support a little bit more ease and giving ourselves also within that more choices to change our effort, respond to different needs of the run, whether it's uphill, different terrains, etc. So one thing about right effort is also making some choices. Yeah. So do you have a spot that you kind of count as your sweet spot where you've got enough challenge and enough ease to kind of take on the task at hand? So that can be about running, but it can also be about the practice we have here today. So you can decide, where are you? How are you in terms of injuries? How are you in terms of tightness and stiffness? How are you in terms of like what's going on in your head, what's going on in your heart, all those things in terms of what's the effort that you want to bring to today's session. So we're down on the ground quite a lot this week. And although we're down on the ground, I'm suggesting that you don't have something under your bum. However, if that's not if that means it's unsafe for you, then please use a block or a blanket to raise your bum off the ground. So we're starting sitting, and we're starting with taking our legs out in front of us. So I'm going to go to slight angle so that you can see but not be threatened by my foot quite so much. So it might be easy to do the other leg. So bringing one foot to the floor, but my foot is just above the foot, my toes are just above my kind of ankle bone to start off with. And I'm going to just take my hands somewhere on the shin, on the knee, and I'm going to allow myself to go more hammocky, so rounding the back and bringing the chin under, and then I'm going to sit up with a little bit of kind of sense of the hands getting there. And might think, okay, I just need to just do this a few times to find where it's safe for me. I'm happy with this leg being active, so that for me means I'm going to be inactive. But as soon as I start to put flexion, dorsiflexion through the ankle, I'm more likely to be active. So we can then move the foot up a little way towards the knee or around about the knee, and we can sort of sink back again a little bit, see if that feels okay for the back, and then see if we can find a way from coming from that kind of rounded back to a little bit more of what power, what's the right effort for us to get into a position where we can feel strong. So what happens here is you feel more through the sitting bone as you sit up, and there's a little bit more work through the hands, but you're not pushing too hard, but you're just creating a little bit of support to bring you forward. And there might be another position for you. You might need to adjust where your hands are as you go back a little bit and you get your chest or your rib cage more towards your thigh. Come back a little bit. You might do the mini waves if the lower back can cope with that. And then you sit up. Okay, and then relax that. Take the hands behind you and just relax, whatever that might mean here. Okay, so then we're going to stick with the same leg for now. And as long as it's safe to take the knee out to the side, so it's going to be that external rotation for the hip. We take the foot so it's again low down, so somewhere my toes are around the ankle, my knees out to the side. Fairly relaxed upper body. And see if I can just come up so I'm a little bit more upright through the spine, back a little bit, and see if I can get the foot comfortably around the knee. So I'm not pushing the heel into the knee joint at all. It's just the arch that's kind of sitting there. And then again, I'm okay to sit forward. And if you're not, then sit back, or if you need something under your bum to be safe, then do that. Okay, come back. I need to do a little bit of help here to get the foot more above the knee and into the thigh. You may not want to come to this stage. You might want to stay where you are. So I'm kind of well back now, and then could I come up and sit up a little bit more? And kind of find a place that you're okay with there. Okay, to come out of this, I want to help my knee. Keep that one safe. Thank you, knee. Okay, so then we'll do the other side. The other foot comes up a wee way. The hands here. We allow ourselves to kind of roll a little bit, and then we bring ourselves up, keeping this foot and this leg broadly. A little bit of action there, a little bit of engagement. Again, we can kind of find a way to flow. Or if that doesn't feel good for the back, then we just come to where we can. Relax it slightly. We come to where we can. So second point, somewhere around the knee. Again, flow from relax to a bit more engagement. Relax. So changing the effort, but not overdoing. Yeah. So this idea that we often overwork. Which is going to be your third position. If you go into a third position, to relax, sit up. Yeah, so these kind of movements don't work for everybody's sacrum, yeah, that bit in the lower back and around the pelvis area. So if there's kind of questions here, then listen to those and off. Behind you, relax, and then take your foot to first position on this external rotation. Sit up. Choose your second position. Go back a little bit. Sit up. In if you need to whatever's going to be your final position. So this is like a, you know, advanced tree pose, if you like, where you take your take your foot into your inner thigh. So that's kind of what we're emulating here. Okay, and relax and protect your knee to get out of that. Extend through both legs, just the legs a little bit to get a little bit more ease there. Okay, so we've done this movement a number of times, but not for a while. If you've got hard flooring, floorboards or whatever, that can be easier to do this movement. But if you're doing that, for me, it's easier with socks on than it is loose. I've got carpet, so that's what I've got. I'm going to extend one leg forward, and then I'm going to take my knee out to the side, and I'm going to do circles with my heel on the carpet, but so I get an internal knee movement, external knee movement, an internal knee movement, external knee movement. It might be a small circle, or it might be a bigger circle. If the knee doesn't like it, see if it's okay to do a smaller one, and if it's not, then leave this out. And then see if you can go the other direction. Yeah, so from you're going external to internal, go to internal to external. Hopefully I'm not spoiling your carpet. Okay. Relax. So, second side. Circuits. So it's sometimes those internal ones that are more tricky for people than the external. Okay, so if that's been okay for you, then do a double. You do these go away from each other at the same time. Movement. So we're working on trying to find easeful movements with this, and it's not going to be easy but how could it be as smooth as possible? X here. Okay, so we're going to move into a twist from here. Well, in this sort of similar positions. So we're going to go back to where we were at the beginning with the knee bent, and we're going to take the hands initially as we did at the beginning, and we just need to make a choice about where we're comfortable with the foot in relation to the body. But remember, we're going to go into a twist. We're going to go into a twist towards the inner thigh of that bent leg. So I'm going to need to take one arm behind me. I'm going to take the other arm, so I've got my left leg out. I'm going to take the left arm forward, so then I can wrap that around the outside of the thigh. And if I have a sense of pushing away, there's a little bit of pushing away with that extended leg so that I'm not trapped in my pelvis. So I get a little bit more movement. Again, it's great for everybody's sacrum. So if that's shouting out, no, then listen to that. Otherwise, the chest can come through. You can look at your toes at the front and then see if you can look slightly behind you. You can look at your toes, taking it really slowly so you don't kind of feel dizzy or any problem here. Yourself get a way to get out of that. So opposite side. So you can, even in this movement, you can just see if you can take that extended leg away and back, away and back. So this is going to be your release for your, so the further the leg can go forward, the more space you have to turn into your twist. So finding your happy position for your foot by bringing that heel in, extend with right hand for me to right foot to get a handle on a wrap around this leg, this thigh, to find my position and allow that foot to extend away so I can look behind me and look towards my foot, look behind me towards the foot, slowly. And you follow the gaze around the room as you go from one side to the other. Relax, sweetly around. And just for a moment, just see how things are going. We're in sitting mode, yeah. So I've done this a few times before I've done this. So I kind of get a bit more feeling of, yeah, I've released, but maybe I've done a little bit more time. For you, it might be that the sacrum and the back is not happy doing some of the previous movements. So you've kind of not been able to unlock quite so much. So just see how you are sitting. And then what we'll do is we'll take our hand behind our arm for these diagonal seated arch and curl. So we take the arm back to the knee, we take it back, to it back, to this opening, and spine, opening, spine. Swap over, have your hand behind you or whatever you feel safe, hand behind, diagonal opposite, elbow to arm and open to the chest, diagonal, opening. So we're going to go onto our back and we'll just check things are okay, if we need to stabilize a little bit, and then we'll do a little bit on our backs, and then we'll come to all fours. So we're still in this low down position. That's one for a change. So come down to your back and just see how the land lies. So because we've done quite a lot of work in centre around the hips and the pelvis, and the lower back's had to kind of work its way into trying to find its best position for support for you. Just see how, if there's any kind of niggliness there. And having the feet reasonably close into the bum, then just press the feet down without raising the pelvis off the ground. So you're kind of pushing the feet down as if you're going to pick the pelvis up, but you don't. And you release, you push the feet down and you release, push the feet down, release, just to get a little bit more symmetrical. And switching on some of the muscles of support. Okay, so now just for a moment, push the feet away from each other. So nothing happens. It's still on the floor, but there's this kind of work going to extend the hips kind of outward slightly as you need. Take the feet to the little toe weighted side, and then you relax it, and then you bring your feet more towards the big toe, squeezing everything into the center, but your feet are still on the ground. Okay, there's a pull in and relax. So from here, I'm going to lift the legs off the ground and take the arms up. And I'm going to take the legs in one direction and knees and the arms in the other. So arms, legs one way, and do this lots of times, haven't we? So hands stay shoulder distance and knees stay hip distance. You can have don't have to be a kind of 90 degrees with your legs. You can let your heels go a little bit further down if you want to, whatever kind of feels right. Okay, and then let's take the feet down, get the weight, relax. And then I've got my hands together, but you can have them wrapped fingers interlocked if you want. But that's kind of up like a steeple above your chest with the hands. And then you let your knees drift over side to side, but you're keeping your steeple in place, so stable around the upper back. We're just trying to loosen a little bit more. So we've been doing hip work. We've also been doing twists. Some that gets locked in. Okay. So just bring the arms down for a moment. Then we're wrapping our ankle across the opposite knee and taking those, rocking across the pelvis side to side. And then we can introduce the steeple, taking the hands up and still rocking slightly side to side. And then release the hands, swap the legs over, get the rocking. Initially without the steeple, just relaxing lower back. And then introducing the steeple effect. So there's more stability in the shoulders. Even though the shoulder blades are not together here, it's because the shoulders will be slightly lifted off the ground. This is that lengthening through the hands. Okay. Okay, so we're going to head towards all fours. So rocking up or coming onto your side, whichever is the safest and comfortable. Okay, so from here, you're going to need to have enough space to take your leg behind you and your hand in front. So we're doing opposites, so it's reaching one leg behind and one arm in front, and then we're bringing knee to elbow this time. So rather than knee to nose, it's knee to elbow, and lengthen knee to elbow, lengthen, knee to elbow. So it's spiraling in. Done with some other movements, some other positions. So one more. Lengthen. Come into your pause button. See okay. And then lengthen through opposite side. So knee, lengthen, knee. To all fours. So from here, we're going to just have a brief go at plank for a moment. So again, you need enough space with the hands and the feet to fit on the mat. So I'm taking my hands forward, taking my toes to the ground and finding my plank. So then I'm seeing if I can just use the feet to roll myself forward and back. So it's strong movement. If you prefer to be on your forearms, you could do that. Strength. It's not really flow, although we're flowing within the movement. And come down, well done. Rest from that. So we just got the core activated a little bit. So the other work we were doing earlier was working around center, but it wasn't, the activity was coming more from the legs. And from there, we were trying to find some ability to rise out and up through the spine, but the core will be activated, but it'll be very subtle. So there we've just got a little bit more work to get the core activated. So we're going to do this 90-90 thing with the legs. So it's really hard to show on here. So maybe what I think is easiest to indicate is this shin being in line with the short end of the mat, and this shin being broadly in line with the long end of the mat. And I've got a 90-degree angle here, and I've got a 90-degree angle here. So my ankle is broad in line with my knee is broadly in line with my hip, ankle, knee here. Broadly, yeah, that's the kind of way you're working towards. Okay, so I feel like I want to fall this way. So I'm going to fall this way and come back up. I'm going to go to the way I want to kind of gravity's taking me to, from any hip restriction to some extent. Just go into that side. Then things are okay. I'll come forward. Come forward over that front hip. Coming towards sitting back to sitting forward, sitting back to sitting forward. So it might be really tight here. Just do what you can within the limits. Okay. Take the hands behind you and just do the more softer movement. If the knees want to come closer together, so you can just find in between doing the first side and the second side. Okay, let's do the second side. Adjustments. Okay, and again, there's a side you want to fall towards, allow that to happen and sit up. Sit up. Or sit up. Control. And see how we are going forward and back. Forward. Back. Up, down. So from here, again, we can take the hands behind us and have a more easeful movement. And so if for me, doing it this way around, this does feel more easeful than if I do it first without that grander opening. In terms of keeping the feet and the knees at this 90-degree angle, I can do it easefully, having the feet closer together. This is much more demanding for the hips. Okay, that's wonderful. So we're just going to have a mini pigeon moment. Or that's an option for us to do. So we can do that from broadly from plank. We can go up a little bit, heading sort of towards a little bit more in direction of downward dog before we bring the foot forward to just have a pigeon moment. So all I mean, if you can watch me, I'm here and bring my knee to the same hand. So I'm taking my left knee towards my left wrist. I'm tucking my back toe. So some of you will get lower than I can. Some of you will need the positioning of the leg in a more easeful state. You want the heel closer to the inner thigh, to the pubis area. Just see how that is. So you know you can come out at any moment by tucking your toes under and coming out of it. But if you can stay, then stay. I'm going to tuck my toes under. I'm going to push, gently relieve that. Go up into downward facing dog for a moment, or hare with more of a bent knee, or a bit of both. And then come back to plank for a moment. Raise the pelvis a little bit. Get the knee somewhere towards what you can do. Yeah, so I personally rather have the shin reasonably in line with the front of the mat. I can't get it completely there, and have a little bit of a raise here because I want this thigh to open. I want to work on the piriformis. I want to work on inner thigh release. So I'm staying here for a moment, and you can come out at any moment you wish to. So it's kind of right effort. So some of the right effort is about, can I relax into somewhere there's some discomfort and just get used to that and it being safe there. Okay, tuck toe under, push your way out, and again, maybe walking the dog. Yeah. Just bring the hands towards feet and come to standing. Excellent. Okay. So see how things feel in standing now. How you feel around the hips. Okay, so we'll kind of finish off with a couple of flows. So we're going to come to the front of a mat and come into prone mode. I'm going to step back. So if you're happy when you step back into warrior one to just to stay on the toes so that the pelvis is pointing forward, that's great. If you need to take the heel down, then that's also fine. So it's a balancing issue more if you're just onto the toes and the balls of your feet. So from here, we're just extending the arms up into a reach with this spire, hands and back down. So that helps us extend through the spine as we reach and remind us to kind of do the work that we need to around the core, just to create this kind of slight hugging effect that gives the support. We'll be working both legs, but it will feel more work going slightly through the front leg. And then next time you're in prayer, we hop forward and do the other side. So pausing, stepping back, so front knees bent. Get it into stable enough position with heel up or heel down, and then extending the spine. So as we extend, we kind of keep that length when we bring the hands back into the chest. Then we can step forward, shake out anything that needs a little bit shaking. So we're going to